Welcome, I'm Charles Brock. When I first started woodworking, I was a flatboarder, but then I saw the beautiful work of Sam Maloof, and it inspired me to become a sculptured furniture maker. Let's go! Now we're going to put a headrest on this rocker. The headrest and the thickness of the headrest has so much to do with the changes from the original rocker 10 years ago to what I call the 8-quarter rocker today. Now again, the 8-quarter rocker, the 8-quarter stock or 2-inch thick stock in the rough is the thickest stock that you need to have to make this rocker. In the past, I asked that you find 10-quarter or 2.5-inch stock for this headrest. It's hard to find. So this is a big difference. And in the redesign, I put a little curve in the back legs to make up for that depth of the thick headrest, the 10-quarter headrest, and bring your head closer to the headrest itself while you're looking into the field or having a conversation with somebody in the room. That's better than having your head way back. That's also why we had to redesign the shape of the spindles and just to accommodate that 8-quarter stock being the thickest stock that you needed. Now, that brings us to, here's a piece of stock I have selected for the headrest. It's just a little less than 2 inches thick. I'd say maybe at 1 3/4 inches, that would be the thinnest stock you could use and still get a nice little sweep for the headrest. First question though, is what is the distance from here to here? This is the bottom of the headrest stem. This is the top of the headrest stem. But we're going to measure the bottom, and we're going to use an old tool, one that maybe your grandfather carried around in his back pocket. It's a great tool for measuring in-betweens. So we're going to get it unfolded here, put it on this line, and then push it all the way out to that line. And we're going to get the measurement of the space in between. All right, now that reads, let's see, 19 plus 1, that reads 20 1/8 inches. Now, I'll tell you what I like to do. I like to add 1/8 of an inch to it, and that makes 20 1/4. Again, it measured 20 1/8 between here and here. Add 1/8 to it. This measures then for our work, 20 1/4 is what we want to aim at. So, there's going to be 1 inch of this 7-inch wide board that's going to hang down here. And that little hanging down part that we will sculpt in there and cut out really makes it beautiful. So we need at least a 7-inch wide board. And it needs to be no thinner than 1 3/4 when it's prepared. And it needs to have no splits, maybe a knot for interest. You just have to kind of judge for yourself, and you know what stock you have. So I picked this board. This board looks like a little more than 7 inches. So we've got to trim it down and trim it up and get it ready to go on. Let's do that now. I've got a line that's 1 inch from the bottom. In other words, from here to here is 1 inch. Now I place that line all the way around. I'm going to use that line to separate the 6 inches from here up, which is going to go between the headrest stems and the part that's going to hang down. So now we need to lay this out with 6 degrees on one side, and to find the other point, we're going to lay the rule right here . And that is our 20 1/4 measurement. Now your measurement might be different between these 2 points. So whatever it is, plus 1/8 of an inch. There's our 20 1/4 right there. And now, if I lay the bevel that's set at 6 degrees back down, the legs are at 6 degrees of splay. So, if I make these cuts, it should fit right there in that headrest stem. All right, just make sure that you have marked your 6 degrees all the way around. That way you can line it up with the blade on the table saw. Now this is the way I have this set up to make the cut. I want to use this 6 degree jig. If you use it in different places all over the chair, your 6 degrees will be the same. And that's very important, especially trying to get the headrest to drop between the back legs. So I've got it set up here, and I'm going to line up my cut, and we're going to get started. Now, let's see if it fits. The headrest fits. It fits between the legs. I've got it all the way up to this 3-inch line, 3 inches from the top on each side. And the way I've got it hanging here is just to take some of these large spring clamps and use those as kind of a holder. It'll work real well. That way you can work on it by yourself, which is the way a lot of woodworkers end up having to work. But I'm thrilled with the way everything is coming together. The next thing for me to do is to find the center line all the way around here, the center between this end and this end. Find that center line, and then we'll go from there. To find the center line, first I'm going to make myself a nice baseline here. And you can use any measurement, but I have this set at 5/8 of an inch, and this is the front side of the headrest. Then I want to take a divider here, and I'm going to make a mark from the end to here. There's a little point right there, and then a point from the end, using the same measurement to right there. Now, what I need to do is to set my compass so that I can get it to cross here when I make some arcs. And if they cross, I just got to work at it till they do. Several efforts. All right. So I need to come back a little bit. When they do, the place where they cross will be the center line. There we go. I see it now. It's right there. So now I'm going to make the center line. Now, if you get it wrong, if you get the center line wrong, then your spindle won't be in the middle. Your center spindle won't be in the center, and things get kind of wonky from there. So, let's see. I need a larger one here. Yeah, the whole idea is to get the rocker symmetrical. So this is very important. And we're going to keep renewing this center line through the process of making our headrest so that we get the spindles symmetrical and drawn into the right place. So, yeah, all right. It's always good when it comes out just perfectly in line on the other side. So, there we go. We've got the center line. Now, I'm going to show you how to draw out the arcs, the nice sweep for the front of the headrest and the back of the headrest. And then we're going to go to the bandsaw, and we're going to make the money cut. I've got to make an arc with a nice sweep in it away from the front of the headrest, and then I've got to make one at the back of the headrest. Now, I use kind of a fancy little bow here, which is really no more than you could make out of one of the laminate strips that you're going to be using for your rockers, your rocker sleds. Take one of these, put a notch in each end and a string, and you can use it, or you can just take it and kind of bend it if you have somebody else that has can use a marker. But you got to know where to bend it to so you can trace that curve. All right, so first, how are you going to trace the curve? From the back, right here in the center on the center line, set a square at 1.25 inches in length here, and then draw a little line across the center line. And that will help you lay out the little swing or the little sweep from the front. So, using this bow, I can put it in place and kind of hold it down. Then draw my line. All right, you're just going to draw your line from the front outside corner to that line at 1.25 inches from the back and to over here. That way you can get really all the sweep that you can get out of whatever piece of wood you're using. So this is approximately 1 7/8 inches in thickness, but if you were using something thicker, then you could get more sweep. I drew the line, and if you have a thicker piece, then when you measure 1.25 inches from the back, you're going to have more sweep. So from here, the outside corner, to that line, back to the outside corner. Now, for the back, because it's going to have a curve in the back too, I measured 1.25 inches from the front and 1.25 inches from the front here, drew a little line, and now I can hold this in place at that 1.25 inches. And I can draw that line. Now the thickness of our headrest after we cut it is going to be 1.25 inches, and it'll have a radius, or it'll have a sweep in front and a sweep in back. Now, this is the money cut right here. You want to make a nice continuous bandsaw cut without any bumps, without any stops, as nice and as beautiful a cut as you can make. That is the money cut that I'm talking about. Now in back, it's a little hard to make a continuous cut because the cut's going to run out on the bandsaw back here. So let's go make the money cut first, and then we'll cut the back. And I hope it turns out just right. All right, now for the back, we'll take it over to the bench and we'll work on rounding it away from the center line right here. This is coming out really good. After making those cuts on the front and back, it's important to refresh your center line. Make sure that you've got it exactly in the center and you keep putting it back on, because we haven't gotten to the point yet where we're going to drill the holes for the mortises in the headrest, and so that's kind of what we're working toward. If you keep refreshing it, then that's going to help a lot. All right, so I've done that, and now I need to get rid of, there's a flat here in the middle at the center, And I'm going to work that flat just a bit. I'm going to work it a little bit cross-grain here on one side and a little bit cross-grain on the other side. And then I want to work away from the center line. And just try to renew that or make that nice little arc. So this is a good tool for that. Especially if you like hand tools. So I'm working away there, and I can still see the center line right here. I'm going to work away from it on this side. And the idea is to have a nice little arc right there. We're starting to get a nice little arc there away from the center line. And that's the idea. Just continue working yours till you've got it. I think we're ready to move on. I reinstalled a little bit of the 1-inch line here and here. Now, I did that just so I could do this layout. Now, this is the teardrop here. If you're doing the teardrop, or if you're doing the other one, which is a more conservative headrest profile, all you do is line it up, this little curved corner right here, line it up at the 1-inch mark, and then rotate this down to the bottom, and then you can just draw it on there. And that way it fits pretty much any headrest width within maybe 3/4 of an inch either way. And so this one you would just flip it over, and you do the same thing on the other side. 1-inch line right here, and draw it. Okay, then take it to the bandsaw and cut this off. Well, let's say that you wanted to do this profile. This is the teardrop, and yeah, everybody remember Freddie Fender and the song "When the Last Teardrop Falls." I'm going to put this on here in a different color, and you can kind of see the difference. This is the teardrop. So just lay it out from the 1-inch line. And you can cut the one that you want, but you can only use one. So, all right, I'm going to use the teardrop on this one. And so I'm going to use the white line. Let's go to the bandsaw. We'll cut it out. Now, let's go to the bench and see if we can improve this arc right here. There's a little bit of a flat. We're going to work away from the center line. Well, you've got lots of choices here. You just have to work away from the center line. And usually working downhill with hand tools is the answer. If you run into problems, your choice is the rasp. It works tremendously well. You just, like I said, work away from that center, and your goal is to make a nice little arc. Now let's see how we're doing. Got to check it. It's coming along. All right. It's coming along. You just don't want to have a flat here. It's got to be a teardrop. Well, that's coming along. Another way you can do it, of course, is if the grain smiles at you, you can use spoke shave. Well, the grain's not smiling there. From that direction, it's usually downhill works pretty well, but it's kind of snatching out some grain. So I'm going to continue on using the rasp because it doesn't cause that problem. So of course, the idea is to make it symmetrical. We're not quite there yet. One thing I really like about these rasps is you can work big or you can kind of choke up and work small. Great tool. All right, let's see where we are. Ah, yes. That looks pretty symmetrical right there. Yeah. I mean, just want to work this just a bit. Right there, I think it's going to be good. And so I'm setting a marking gauge at 7/16 of an inch, and I'm using it along this front edge, front and bottom edge, and I'm installing a baseline that we're going to use to lay out our mortises for the 3/8 inch end of the tenons. So now I'll get some dividers and you can watch me do it. 7 mortises. Now this is really important. This is a change from what's in the book or what's in the original video or DVD. My spacing between the mortises is going to be 2.5 inches. So lay out your dividers to 2.5 inches instead of 2 7/8. I think you'll like this a whole lot better. Now, right on that line, we're going to make the first hole, and we're just going to lay them out. We're going to walk it right along here. All right, so there's 1 in the middle and 3 on each side. This spacing looks a lot better and it feels a lot better. The support is really nice. So you're going to like this. All right, let's make sure we got them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's it. We'll go to the drill press and we'll use a 3/8 inch brad point bit and we'll drill the holes 1.25 inches deep. We're just going to use the old blue tape method that everybody understands real well. But the spindle will only actually stick up into this mortise 3/4 of an inch. That gives you a little bit of room to play with. It helps if you ever have to replace one of the spindles. This is really important. You do not want to cut the profile at the top of the headrest now. You want to have it flat because it sits very nicely on the drill press table. If you cut it, then you got a problem. So please do not cut the top profile. All right, now just use your bow, one of those lambs that you've made up so that you can spring a nice symmetrical curve. And if you're building for taller people, you might have a little less curve. If you're building for people that aren't quite as tall, maybe a little more curve. Find something that you like. And so that's what I've done. This one has worked for me before. And I am laying it out, serving it up. And trying to anyway. Take it to the bandsaw, make the cut, we'll be ready to install it. Well, that's about it for most of the chair, except for we've got to finish installing everything. The next chapter, we're going to install the arms. We're going to install the headrest. We're going to use some screws, and as a friend of mine used to say, we're going to screw the chair up. But it's really going to start coming together even more than it is right now. We're going to lay out some nice little cuts on the seat and on the legs, and it'll really start just taking shape. And come on, let's stick with it. Remember, this is a marathon, it's not a sprint. So the next chapter, we're going to tune this chair up a good bit. And then we're going to do some spindles and learn how to attach the rocker sleds, and it's going to be a rocking chair. Stick with me. More to come.